You're almost done with the paper. You've written a good introduction, 3 good body paragraphs, and now all you need is a strong conclusion. Conclusions can be some of the most difficult parts of the paper to write, so you'll want to look at this module to see 3 or 4 different ideas on how you can end your paper strongly.
Okay, so now we're on to conclusions. You're moving along and we're constructing this essay. You've got your introduction done, your body done. So 4/5 of your essay is done. You have 4 of the 5 paragraphs you need, and now you just need a conclusion. Let's talk a second about why conclusions are important. Conclusions do more than just emphasize the thesis statement. They leave the reader with a strong impression and they finish off your essay. You don't want to get to the conclusion and give your reader the sense that you just ran out of ideas, ran out of time, ran out of steam, and you just did what I call a bailout conclusion. You just write a few sentences and say, look, I'm tired of doing this, I'm done. So we can do better than that, and that's what we're going to look at in this module, is how we can do better than that. So here's some strategies for writing a good conclusion. First and foremost, look back at the introduction, and then what did I do in the introduction? We'll talk about how you can kind of complete the whole circle if you pose something in the intro. Predict the future, offer a solution, and then if you can't do any of those things, it's okay to summarize the main ideas and restate and emphasize that thesis statement. But you really want to save that as kind of a last resort. Now, in a timed essay, that may be what you're stuck with in the end. It may be the easiest and best way you can complete the paper. But in other instances where you have a little more time to revise or edit and write the essay, you may want to look back at that intro, predict the future, and offer a solution rather than just summarizing the main ideas. So let's take a look at a few of these things. Looking back at the introduction. So if you look back at the intro, you finish writing your paper and you say, man, let me look at my intro again. So you look at it and you say, how can I complete this circle? So let's take a look at what we mean by that. In a recent survey, over 58% of people said they preferred dogs over cats. Many people in the survey who preferred cats said the cats were easier to own. And then you'll remember we did a transition and then had our thesis. So just based on that, let's see if we can complete this circle. Dogs are definitely not low maintenance like cats, but dogs are better pets because of it. You've just spent your whole essay telling me why. You told me about their willingness to protect their owners, to play, to learn new tricks. I mean, you told me a lot about why dogs are better than cats. So now you're just kind of completing the circle that you started with of cat owners versus dog owners. So that's effective, and it can be a really good way to end an essay. Predicting the future. Tell me what you think will happen in the future to the situation that you talked about. So in this case, we said as people get busier with work and family, cats will still be an attractive option because they are low maintenance pets. While dogs are not as low maintenance, their popularity will continue to increase because people see the value in having a pet that can be much more part of their lives. So you can actually predict, hey, yeah, cats are easier to own and people get busier and busier, but we see the value in having a dog with the protection and the tricks and some of the things like that we've already mentioned in the essay. So predicting the future is good. Now these, when you're looking at it in the context of dogs versus cats, may seem really overly simplistic, or this may be too complex for an overly simplistic topic like that. But when you get a complex topic, this may be something that you want to look at. For example, if the topic was all television is terrible for children, well, you can talk about the future. If you said, yes, TV is terrible for children, you could predict the future. Children are going to watch more and more television and it's going to rot their brains and all that stuff. Or you can say, hey, in the future, more educational TV will emerge as we have more channels. In the past 20 to 30 years, we've seen a market increase in these educational channels, and people are watching them at higher rates. So predicting the future is a really good way to end it, as is offering a solution. So if you had a problem you're trying to solve, you could offer a solution to that problem. So here I've given you the example. We need more people volunteering in our community, but people do not have time. So let's offer a solution to the problem. So in your conclusion, you may say, the most common reason people do not volunteer in the community is because they do not have the time. I believe that companies should allow and perhaps even mandate that employees have time off of work to help in the community. There are actually businesses that do this. And so this is a good solution. You could talk about this as a solution to the problem that you just wrote about, which is we don't have enough volunteers in the community. So offering a solution is a really good way to do it too. And then, of course, as I said earlier, this may not be the most effective way to end the paper, but if you're stuck, it could be a way to get you started. So if you're in that rough draft and you don't know how to end the paper, summarize it. Make sure you don't repeat everything you said word for word, kind of restate your ideas. But again, if you're about out of time, this is really a good go-to method to finish your essay. At least you've kind of given the essay a sense of completeness at the end rather than just saying, oh, I'm done, that's all I got. And that's not a good way to do it. Maybe not the best way to finish a paper, but it really is in the rough draft stage. It'll stop you from getting writer's block. Just go ahead and re-summarize it and then go back and say, okay, how can I make this stronger? And that's what revision and editing is all about. And we'll be talking about that in the next module.